This weekend I had a great privilege to attend the ordination, priestly ordination of one of my friends in Dublin, and it was a very tiring day. Plenty of masses and other appointments. So during the celebration, as you can imagine, sometimes I was so tired that I was going away with my thoughts somewhere else. But the most kind of beautiful thought which came to my mind is that of a reminder from my own day of ordination and how it was like for me and how it was like just the days after. I remember very vividly my first confession, for example. I was so afraid. I didn't know exactly how to behave, what to do. I was scared who will come to me asking for confession. And there she was. I remember a young girl in her early 20s, I suppose, asking for a confession with tears on her face. I was very much afraid and wondering, what can I do? What can I say? Until she said what was the reason. She didn't get the dreamed job, but that wasn't the end of the world. Shockingly, she said though that she might stop believing in God because what had happened to her. And I said that it's really nothing. You can try the next year and the following one if it's really something you are thinking about. And yet the only thing she could see is that very moment and that very, as she understood it, a failure of her personal professional career. I also remember while sitting in the bench in the church during the rite of ordination of my friend, those moments when I was visiting many of the sick on the first Fridays, how a month after a month after a month, I remember that some of those people I was journeying with were disappearing, were passing away or passing on, were simply dying because of a disease. Some, luckily, were getting better and coming back to life and to getting back to their families and the social life, etc. Why I'm saying you this now? Because it seems that all of us, in many different ways, have that experience of a difficulty, a cross, which one carries on one's shoulders. Something which St. Paul, in this Sunday's second reading from the letter to the Corinthians, calls as a thorn which he was given in the flesh. And he also states that he was asking God to take it away for 3 times. Some theologians say that that thorn in flesh could be some of a very physical disease he was carrying. Others that perhaps it was a Christian community which, let's put it plainly, made his life trouble and heartsome. Nonetheless, the truth which came through within his heart as if God spoke within himself was this: my grace is enough for you. My power is at its best in weakness. My grace is enough for you. My power is at its best in weakness. It's so tremendous to actually see the other side of the suffering, a failure, a problem, a cross which one carries on. Sometimes we tend to focus only on the surface, but if we will look deep down inside, it might happen that there is some greater sense in what we are dealing with at the moment. Sometimes God miraculously takes away the suffering, the cross, the disappointment, and he heals us as the Lord Jesus did. Nonetheless, let's not forget that when we are reading the Gospel for this Sunday from Mark chapter 6, we hear that the Lord Jesus couldn't heal many in his native country, in his hometown, because of the lack of faith which his neighbors, his kin, had or didn't actually have. But sometimes the Lord does not heal. The Lord brought many sick back to the wellness, although not everyone. And as we hear today in the first reading taken from the prophet Ezekiel, we are also hearing that the Lord is choosing this particular man for God's own purposes, even though he is happy enough with the life he had before. Nonetheless, it is God's purpose, God's divine plan, which he does not realize yet, but only will learn at the end. I heard somewhere a beautiful comparison which puts all of those three readings from this Sunday in one very clear context. Someone said once that it is like this little piece of sand which accidentally falls into the shell, into the mussel under the water. Days after days, weeks after weeks, years even, take to make from that one piece of sand a beautiful pearl. What if the struggling problem, cross, disappointment, a family issue is not just a problem? What if a beautiful pearl grows within your life, within your heart, right now? I leave you with this thought, and I leave that within myself as well. Please God to see you next Sunday. God bless you.